Why does this feel so familiar? I'll tell you why. It's because for the fourth time this season, the Vancouver Canucks have lost a game on home ice with a score of 5-1 in 2022-2023. And that, in and of itself, is unacceptable. That's really bad. And in fact, this game against the Winnipeg Jets kind of showed off more of the Canucks that we know when they're playing at their absolute worst. And I get you could say, oh, you know, teams are allowed to have a bad game. Every team has a bad game once in a while. And that's true. Very, very true. That no team is going to go 82-0. You're going to have some losses in there. You're going to have some stinkers in there too. But for the Vancouver Canucks, it's so bad. Like, you can't realistically apply a standard that would normally be applied to the rest of the NHL on an average situation and say, oh yeah, no, Vancouver's fine. Like, just because they lost a game, it's fine. No, they've lost so many games in this fashion. They've lost so many games looking like that out there. No PETEY, no problem? How about nah? No Elias Pettersson, no Brock Besser, no Thatcher Demko, I guess you could say, but no PETEY. Absolutely, yes, there is a problem here. Even in games where the Canucks have Elias Pettersson and they still lose 5-1 on home ice, they look absolutely terrible. But at least you know Elias Pettersson is out there at least giving the team a fighting chance to do something. Not even to win the game, but to do something. This game featured a Vancouver Canucks D-core, forward core, and back-checking core that just couldn't give a rat's behind about doing anything properly. Like, yeah, that was a bad game. Really bad game. I know Peg City Hockey, Jake, friend from high school of mine, also happens to be a hockey YouTuber here. He was at this game. He lives here in Vancouver, and he's a Jets fan, so he went to the game, of course, and had a good time, I would assume, because his team won 5-1. You know, I want to talk about the goals that went in. Do I really want to talk about that, though? I don't know. I mean, we have a lot of Canucks fans here on this channel, and you don't really need me to tell you what happened. Okay, let's just do a quick summary, quick rundown of everything before diving into my thoughts, extended opinions, etc., about the Canucks, the state they're in, and the game at hand. Kyle Connor makes it 1-0 on the power play. 3 minutes is all it takes, and the Canucks are down at the start of the third. The Canucks only have one shot in the first 12 minutes of gameplay, which is amazing. They're so good for being able to do that. They only had 3 shots in the first period in total, which is awesome. Then you have yourselves the second period. It's Capobianco who scores off the draw, just a long slap shot. That was one of 2 long slap shots, that in which Spencer Martin let in. This one might have went off of OEL or whatever, who really knows? I mean, there was a kind of a screen in front. Spencer Martin probably didn't see it, but it's 2-0 anyway. Halfway through the game, so the 10-minute mark of the second period, the Canucks only had 7 shots on goal. Really, really bad. Give it about 2 minutes after that mark, though, and it's Neal Pionk who absolutely wires a one-time slap shot bomb from the blue line. He just absolutely hammers it down, and it goes perfectly. Top corner, right by everybody. It's clean, no deflection, no whatever. It's just an absolute pristine slapper like we know Neal Pionk is able to do. Perfect shot right there. The third period gets underway, and former Canuck Sam Gagner scores on a nice passing play, making it 4-0, and then give it a few more minutes, and it's Axel Jonsson-Fjallby who's able to come in on the rush and snipe it top shelf too. A lot of these goals came because the Canucks line changes were really sloppy. A few of them came because their defensive zone coverage, also pretty sloppy. The common denominator, though, with all of these ideas in mind, has to be effort, because all the stuff about the country club felt like it was applied to this game and the way the Canucks performed. Sure, you had some guys with a little bit of a bite. Quinn Hughes moving the puck in the way that he does. We all kind of know how good Quinn is at doing what he does, but it's kind of neutralized when he has to carry his D pair every night because Luke Schenn decides to give a few giveaways to the opposite team. Then you had yourselves, of course, the one and only Canucks goal. It's Bo Horvat scoring with about 5 minutes to go on a Quinn Hughes slap shot from the point. It's on the power play. Bo tips it in. That's his 22nd goal of the year. It's like Chris Paul hitting that huge 3 to cut the lead down to 42 or whatever it was in that Suns game. But with the Vancouver Canucks results in this one, I mean, look, it's so easy to say the Sam Constantino argument from a few games ago, that in which we actually talked about here in the channel, but the Canucks are so close to the playoffs. They are just a few points out of that wild card, and the Pacific Division is up for grabs right here. Does that necessarily mean that the Canucks are a Stanley Cup contender because they're a playoff contender? No, they're two different things. The fact is they are, de facto, a playoff contender because of the nature of the standings, but in terms of the quality of the team itself, we all know that they are pretty freaking bad when they decide to be. They can be good. They can. It's just, in a game like this, where even Elias Pettersson, had he been healthy and able to play, I don't think he could have saved this team. That in and of itself is a terrible sign, and a lot of people, especially on the radio today, all over social media, Twitter, Reddit, Instagram, everybody's talking about rebuild. There's the rebuild. You gotta become Oppenheimer over here. I am become death, baby. Go out there and blow this team up. Okay, that might have been a vivid and kind of savage example, but yeah, no, I want to watch Oppenheimer. I want to watch that movie. By the way, the thumbnail for this video was an image that I thought was really, really great, taken by Derek Kane on Getty. It's Elias Pettersson blankly staring out in front of him, and this is the kind of picture that I saw, and I looked at it and I was like, dude, that's Oppenheimer. Like, I don't know what it is, but this reminds me of that imagery. I want to make like a thumbnail of some sorts of Elias Pettersson with some sort of a bomb in the background going off, not because, you know, it's a World War II thing, but because the Vancouver Canucks blow the team up, sell the team, trade everybody, get futures, rebuild. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen, and it's not going to be the case. We'll talk about that a little bit why tomorrow, I guess, when we discuss the Bo Horvat trade rumors that have been popping up, but getting back to this game over here, the Winnipeg Jets had themselves a time with the Vancouver Canucks. Connor Hellebuyck, sure, he made some great saves in this one, but at the same time, I feel like the Canucks didn't really give Hellebuyck too much of a difficult time in net. We had John Garrett at the end saying, yeah, I mean, Hellebuyck could very well start tomorrow. Like, the Jets play it back-to-back. They're going over to Seattle tomorrow to play off against the Kraken, and Hellebuyck realistically could play tomorrow based off of the workload he was given in this game. At the end of the day, though, the Canucks had themselves a bad game. We all know that this is a pretty common occurrence with this team. They didn't really have a chance. Even with all the excitement with Lane Peterson and everything, nice to see Peterson get called up, by the way, actually show off that the Carolina Hurricanes trade with Bear and Peterson is working out for this team properly, starting to feel just a tad different than all the other trades the Canucks have made over the past 10 years, acquiring, let's say, mid-20 to early 20-ish-year-old players in like Clendenning and Vey and Granlund and all these other guys. Hopefully, Bear and Peterson actually have significant contributions on the team heading into the long term, but at the end of the day, I don't really care. This team lost another game, and I'm feeling pretty ticked off about it, so I'm gonna go out there and watch a movie. I want to watch the Grand Budapest Hotel. Yeah, that's gonna go out there and make me feel joyous to be a part of life again. But talk to the comments either way, all your opinions and beliefs about this Canucks team, the direction in which they're heading down, and all your thoughts about the game against the Jets tonight. No real analysis because I don't really care to break down individual plays, and I think everybody is just kind of sick of seeing what's happening over here. And besides, I never really proclaimed to be the smartest person anyway. I'm just kind of a fan expressing my own opinions about my favorite hockey team, that in which I feel like a lot of you also feel the same way. Like, bro, we're angry here. We want to see this team do well. And seeing the team make these trades and these acquisitions and have this decor the way it is, it's not acceptable. And it's confusing because they'll win like they did against Calgary the other night, and they'll be 2 points out of a wild card, and then they'll play like this again at home. Like, the jersey got tossed onto the ice today. There was a jersey. So, I don't know. What do you do here? Do you try to still make the playoffs like Rutherford apparently wants to do? Is this how Patrick Allvin is going to run his team? I don't know. What in the world is going to happen with Myers, OEL? Brock Besser was out today, but he still needs to get traded too. Bo scored another goal, so there you go, pricing himself out of Vancouver again. Miller had a bad game. Hughes was kind of forced to be as relied upon as he has been. Ton of the comments on your thoughts about this Jets and the Canucks game. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.